As a former atheist, I questioned Jesus a lot in my past. But I'll tell you what, the one thing I never really thought through is why do people question Jesus differently? I want you to think about this because one of the most interesting things about Jesus is not simply that people question him. People question all kinds of things, don't they? The interesting thing is how people question him differently. Think of it this way. When people talk about Socrates, they don't usually begin by saying, how do we even know Socrates was real? Or when they talk about Spartacus, we don't usually hear first, maybe Spartacus was completely made up. Or when they talk about Pythagoras, Confucius, Hannibal, or even Alexander the Great, they may debate the details, but they do not usually try to erase the person from history. But when Jesus comes up, something changes. Suddenly, ancient sources are no longer enough. Suddenly, writings preserved by followers are treated as suspicious. Suddenly, belief is treated as if it automatically makes a witness unreliable. But that's not how ancient history normally works. You know, Much of what we know about the ancient world comes through students, followers, communities, historians, political enemies, later writers, and people who cared enough to preserve what they believed mattered. You may not even know this, but Socrates left no writings of his own that we possess. Much of what we know about him comes through people who admired him. Spartacus left no autobiography. Much of what we know about him comes through Roman writers, the very civilization that defeated him. Pythagoras is accepted as a real figure, even though his life is surrounded by later tradition and legend. Think of it this way. Most people do not throw these men out of history because they understand that ancient history requires careful judgment, not impossible standards. So, why does the standard suddenly change with Jesus? I think that maybe the real issue is not that Jesus has no historical support. Maybe the issue is that Jesus cannot be treated like just another historical figure. If Caesar existed, you can study Rome. If Socrates existed, you can study philosophy. If Spartacus existed, you can admire courage. But if Jesus existed, the next question becomes unavoidable. Who was he? Because Jesus did not merely teach ideas, he called people to follow him. He forgave sins. He confronted pride. He welcomed sinners. He touched the untouchable. He told people to repent. He said, gaining the whole world is not worth losing your soul. And that's why Jesus was different. He does not stay safely in the past. He steps out of history and speaks to the heart. So maybe the question is not, why do people question Jesus? Maybe the better question is, why do people question Jesus with a standard they do not use anywhere else? And well, maybe the answer is simple. Caesar asks you to believe he existed. Jesus asks you to decide who he is. It's amazing. As a former atheist, I think about this a lot, the double standard. Why is there a double standard in this world? Why don't people just think about that for a second? There's so many people in history we have either less information for or less support for, yet we're willing to make movies about them and we're willing to have conversations about them as if they just live next door. Christ, on the other hand, one of the most popular books in history is a large section of it attributed to him. Many people in history speak of him. You know, the one thing that's very interesting about Christ is through all the torture, through all the horrible things that have happened to people throughout time, nobody has ever said, hey, this is all made up. You're right. I'm sorry. Because I'm telling you what, if somebody's crucifying you upside down, or somebody's turned the dogs on you, or somebody's whipping big old stones at you at a rate that inevitably kills you, most humans would say, hey, wait, stop this, please. I'm sorry. You're right. This is all BS. This is all a lie. Not one, ever, not one person in history who's seen Jesus, who heard the stories of Christ, has ever spoken up and said, you know what? This is all a bunch of crap. Please stop torturing me. I'm telling you right now, nobody did that. If this was made up, somebody, just somebody. And you know, I know that's kind of horrible to think about, but I always have that thought in my head. I always think, why do we have such a hard time believing Jesus Christ existed? It's obvious that he did. There's no other cause or other belief system with a stronger foundation of people willing to be tortured and die over an idea. Because it's not an idea, it's a real thing. I don't know, just a little commentary here at the end. It wasn't the whole purpose of this talk, but I want you to think about it today. Think about why Christ existed. Think about what it is in your life that has proven to you that Christ is real. Has there been a change with you? Has something gotten better? Has a prayer been answered? Everybody has a story. And you know, the really cool thing about Christ is even if you don't believe in him, if you just do what he said and follow his beliefs and his ideas, your life will be better in every way. It's 100% true. Have you ever met anybody who said, I started following Jesus and my life fell apart? I've never heard a person say that. You know, for the most part, you hear people in every single circumstance say, I started following Christ, I became a Christian, my life got better, I'm doing better things, I'm a better man, I'm a better woman, I'm a better parent. It will benefit you in so many ways. I never hear people say, I started following Christ and my life fell apart. I became a horrible, abusive husband and I picked up a drug addiction and, well, I drink every day now because I follow Christ. That never happens. I hear the exact opposite in the argument for Christ in my mind. And I'm a former atheist. I had all the arguments. You know, one of my favorite arguments was when you understand why you don't believe in Zeus, you'll understand why I don't believe in Jesus. And that's really interesting argument that I would use on a regular basis. But Christ called me to do this and speak to people and write stories. Yeah, I don't know if you've been to douglasvandergraph.com yet, but we've been doing some really creative things that I want to share with you real quick. We've been putting Jesus in stories that traditionally wouldn't have a Christian aspect. Like, did you ever notice in the Harry Potter series, um, in every single one of the movies, they always replace the defense against the dark arts teacher? And I thought, who would be a better defense against the dark arts teacher than Jesus? And he's presented respectfully, but at douglasvandergraph.com, we've taken all the Harry Potter books and we've rewritten them, placing Jesus within the story in a very respectful way. And it's just fandom. We're not selling these books, they're 100% free. It's just something fun that I've been doing on the side. I've put Jesus through Bud's training. As a result, he went through all the training from selection to becoming an Army Ranger. Jesus went through Navy SEALs training. He was elected president of the United States. I even put Jesus in an Avengers story. We put him in Homer's Odyssey, where he walks side by side with Odysseus through all of his trials and offers him support, encouragement, and biblical advice. Also, we've just recently completed a Star Trek The Next Generation story. You have got to check that one out. The idea there was awesome. I don't even want to tell you about it. I just want you to go out and check it out. But we have over 700 different articles such as this on DouglasVandergraph.com. I also have commentary for every single chapter of the New Testament. So if you've ever wanted to understand the New Testament, I created 8 separate perspectives for each chapter of the New Testament. And you could find those on DouglasVandergraph.com, DouglasVandergraph.org. I'm on Tumblr. I'm all over the place. I do 9 separate stories for 9 separate blogs every single day. And I think you're going to love some of the longer term work that it's taken for me to build out. These stories take a lot of time. The books where we place Jesus in some interesting and encouraging situations related to fandom. We're going to do some Minecraft stuff in the future, some anime stuff. We have a whole laundry list of different applications for Jesus, because he's my friend, and I think Jesus is so cool. And when you see how he truly belongs in these stories and how interesting it is, it's going to make you feel closer to Christ. I also want you to consider that we're building this Christian library, and we have already 14,000 separate articles that have been Christian articles that have been created in support of the New Testament, and we're building a Christian library. We do have a GoFundMe for that, so if you want to support that, that would really be great. That supports all the costs for the time, etc., that are necessary to make all these stories and all these documents appear. But the creativity engine in this house is just keeps rolling forever. I look up and I see we have a really cool, I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And Willy Wonka said something that I think is so cool. He said, "We are the dreamers of dreams," and we are. And that's what we're doing here on this channel. We're not just talking about Christ in the way that a sermon would present him. We're presenting Christ across multiple verticals, and that just brings more people closer to him. And you're going to love the stories we're telling on DouglasVandergraph.com, so check it out. We have over 2,000 YouTube videos on our YouTube channel now, which you're watching right now, but you probably already know. 600,000 subscribers, thousands of videos, thousands of documents. This is huge, and we're doing amazing things. And if you're just watching a video every once in a while, you're missing out on the big picture, because we're doing more on this channel and on the internet free of charge right now than any other solo creator in the Christian niche. Nobody touches this. And we're doing it because my name is Douglas Vandergraph, and I believe in Jesus Christ. God bless every single one of you. Every single one. I'll see you tomorrow, friends.